who's finally remembering to make a thumbnail. Hey guys, it's Reagan, and today I have a book haul for you, a very classical book haul for you. Basically, I went to a library sale, I guess you could describe it, and they had a whole bunch of really cheap books, but this time I decided to focus on one particular genre, and that was classics. Basically, classics. I don't talk about classics a lot on my channel, but fun fact, I actually really like classics. I read a lot of classics obviously for school in high school, but I also read a lot of classics for fun. But then when I graduated high school, I was like, freedom! No one can tell me what to read, and then I just kind of stopped for a short period of time, this year and a half or so. I haven't really read any classics, so I really want to change that because, like I said, I really like classics. And you're probably like, why, Reagan? Why do you like classics? Well, I like classics because, to me, obviously they have beautiful prose and all sorts of fun metaphors and interesting stories, but for me, as someone who loves history, I think they're a wonderful snapshot to a very distinct time period on like social beliefs and things like that. So I read them and I just really enjoy it. Or at least I can appreciate it. So let's get started. In general, I have a mix here of books I already have read and wanted to own, and just wanted to get my library going because my parents, or rather my house, owns all the classics and I can't bring those with me when I move. And those I'll probably eventually replace with Penguin Modern Classics because those are my favorite. And then a whole bunch of new ones that I didn't want to like spend 10 plus bucks on before I decided if I liked it or not. And if I do, I'll also replace with the better edition because some of these are kind of old and ratty. It's a really long intro, but we're really gonna get started now. The first one I'm gonna show you guys is a book I've already read, and it's one of my favorite books I've actually ever read in terms of classic. It's The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. This is a pretty beat up copy, but not a bad edition. I actually think this won the Pulitzer Prize. John Steinbeck is an American author, and this novel is set during the Great Depression era, and it has a whole bunch of really cool micro and macro like things going on. So it follows a family as they like odyssey across the nation looking for work from Oklahoma to California, as well as a whole bunch of these interesting like mini chapters that are focusing on like the macrocosm of like America during the Great Depression. It's fantastic. It is really good. I also just really enjoy John Steinbeck's writing. I just really like his writing. So boom! Grapes of Wrath. The next book I have not read, and it's a lot shorter than I thought it was. It is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, or Louis Gluey. I don't know how he pronounces it. I'll have to ask him next time I see him. This is that tale of, like that doctor that has like two personalities, and one of them's like a crazy serial killer. Again, really short. This is like 80 pages long, so this won't take me very long to read it all. I like gothic horror. Is this gothic horror? I don't know. I like to think it is. It might be. I'll let you know when I read it, but I'm excited to read this. The next book I got, I actually know nothing about, and it is The Labors of Hercules by Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie, I've read one novel by her, and then there were none, probably one of her most famous. I really enjoyed it, and I got this because it was 25 cents, and if I'm ever in the mood for a just straight up mystery, I can pick this up and probably really enjoy it. So the next novel I picked up is again one of my all-time favorite books, and in fact my like channel quote that I have in my little description bar is from this book, and it is A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is a futuristic look at our world. It's a utopian, but is actually in truth a dystopian, wherein which the ruling body or the ruling system keeps everyone in line through pleasure. Not fear, not scariness, but pleasure. It's a really interesting look on a lot of things. It's a little weird, but again, one of my favorite books, and has such wonderfully quotable passages. Some of my favorite quotes of all time have come from this. It's just great. Oh, I love it so much. The next book I got was The Catcher in the Rye by Jd Salinger. I have not read this. I feel like everyone's read this, and I feel like it's a really mixed reception. I think you either love it or you hate it. It's one of those books, if I'm correct, follows one of those characters who are like annoying in a sense that they don't know what the hell they're doing with their lives, which is sort of applicable to me. So, I mean, I get it. He's like apparently arrogant and insufferable, but so are most teenagers. So I think that's why a lot of people like this, but I don't know. I have a hard time with characters that I find annoying sometimes. So I'm excited to see if I like it, and this was only like 25 cents, so no harm done if I hate it. So the next novel I picked up is a play, and again, I did theater in high school, so plays are actually one of my favorite mediums to read, and this is one of my favorite plays both to read and to watch, and it is Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. This novel, or this play, is a tragic look on this man's life and kind of his deterioration as a man, as a father, as a husband, and it's really interestingly told. It's like a stream of consciousness story. Very short, very quick read. So again, if you're like scared to read classics, try picking up some classic plays because they're really easy to get through, and really great. This is one of my favorites. By the same author, I also picked up The Crucible by Arthur Miller. Again, one of my favorite plays of all time. The Crucible was written in 1953 by Arthur Miller, and it's a play that's set during like this kind of supposed to be Salem witch trial-esque, set in a colonial America setting where like the witch hunt is like become an obsession of this area. People are being arrested for basically nothing, and it's kind of supposed to be a mirror to reflect kind of the witch hunt that is occurring in modern day America when this was written for like communism. So it's really fantastic and great, and I really enjoy it, and also love watching this on stage as well. It's really powerful. I like it a lot. The next novel I haven't read, kind of been a while since I haven't read one of these, and it's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. As you should know, I love Jane Eyre by this lady's sister, Charlotte Bronte, but I've actually never read this, though this is similar in the fact that it is a gothic romance novel, I suppose you could say. It's also extremely different. The characters in this novel are best described as deplorable and not very likable. It is, like I said, it is a gothic novel with some spooky, haunting elements, and it's set with like two different time periods. Like it's set in present day, it opens in present day, and you meet this man named Heathcliff, and his lover is dead, but then it jumps to the past, where Heathcliff meets the love of his life. Again, really deplorable characters, a very toxic love story. But I'm excited to read this. This is my favorite English teachers from high school's favorite book, so I really should give this a try, so yes. The next novel I picked up was George Orwell's The Burmese Days, which I thought was kind of surprising because they didn't have 1984 Animal Farm, but they had this one, which I've actually never heard of, but I read the back and I found it to be really interesting. It's inspired by George Orwell's actual life. It's set during the waning years of imperialism in India, and it follows like, and it draws on George Orwell's experiences as a police officer during this time period. I really, really enjoy reading about imperialism, especially like the downfalls of imperialism, and reading from a contemporary perspective I think I'm gonna really like. So, I'm excited to read this. I've never read a George Orwell book, which I plan on fixing soon, so don't yell at me, but I'm hoping to really enjoy this. The next novel I picked up was Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. This book, I have a sort of wariness to it. I feel like I'm gonna read this and I'm not going to enjoy it. It's gonna make me very uncomfortable, but at the same token, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not a fantastic book. Additionally, this book is referenced so much in pop culture and just other books and just other books as well, that I just feel like I should read it and have an understanding for this story. So basically this novel follows an older man and his obsessive passion for this really young female girl. Like young as in like 13, 12, 14 years old. It's really disturbing. I don't think he actually acts on his passion, but you're still reading from his perspective and all of his fantasies and his desires from that, his point of view. This is a really acclaimed novel, and like I said, extremely referenced in our pop culture, American Beauty, stuff like that. I just want to be able to be versed in this novel, even if it makes me uncomfortable, because sometimes the best literature is supposed to make us uncomfortable. So yes, Lolita. The next book I got, I don't know can be deemed a classic yet, but it could be a modern classic, and that is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. This is a dystopian end of the world novel, but not like Hunger Games style, like holy crap, you don't want to live there style. Well, I guess you don't want to live in the Hunger Games, but it's different. It follows a father and a son, and they're making their way across the country in this desolate landscape. Apparently, probably one of the most depressing books you will ever read. There's cannibalism. There's all sorts of scary, scary things. I feel like this is gonna mess with my brain quite a bit, but I'm excited to give it a try and see what I think about it myself. The next book I got is one I really enjoyed, and I feel like it's an unpopular opinion. I feel like a lot of people have to read this in school and hate it, and I was like the only one who read it. It was like, this was great, guys! Anyway, it's Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. This also came with The Secret Share. And okay, this novel is set in the Congo, and it's another look at imperialism and how that has affected and degraded society. Again, I love that topic, and though I found this book to be very verbose, and Joseph Conrad is a little heavy on the descriptors, I really enjoyed this. I got a lot out of it. I wanted to write about it. I really enjoyed it. And again, another look at imperialism from a contemporary-ish standpoint. So I liked it a lot. Okay? And the last book I picked up is like the holy grail of finds, because one, this is like one of my favorite books, and it's in an edition that I absolutely love and that I want to collect. It's For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway, and these recently redone covers, and I love these covers because they actually have like symbolic reference to the books. Like this book has pine needles on it, very important to the actual overall story. Ernest Hemingway is probably one of my favorite authors. I've read 2 of his full-length novels and some of his short stories. Really? Shorter short stories? Okay. This, people like to dub his best work of all time. I've read this. I haven't read all of his books, so I can't say that, but I did really enjoy this. He's part of the Lost generation. Again, just one of my favorite eras of writing. I can make a whole video about that. But this follows a young American soldier who's volunteered to help fight in the Spanish Civil War. He's staying in this cave with these other guerrilla warfare Spanish people. What the heck am I trying to say? And he's been given the job to blow up this bridge. The whole story, or the whole conflict of this book is told over 3 days, but there's so many flashbacks for all the characters that this novel's really flushed out and just so good. Oh my gosh, this is just so good. I mean, while I don't necessarily love how Ernest Hemingway portrays women in his books, I just love his writing. I love his storytelling. I love how cynical it is and how horrible pretty much everyone is. Maybe I'm cynical like that, but it's just fantastic and I loved it. So I'm really happy that I have this edition and I can get all his other books in the same edition and have a little collection going. So there is my classic haul. There are a lot more classics I really want to buy, and I will probably buy in the upcoming months, but I thought this was a good start, even if most of the covers are exceptionally ugly, but again, I can replace those later. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!